Yes.
And I was playing in hotels abroad and gigging in Britain and Europe, and go to Asia and make records and do stuff like that. Teach, just like a lot of different things, and I've sort of started getting into sort of like jingles and stuff over COVID because I had to find ways to earn money.
Sure. Well, I mean, I hope that I could promote you on my podcast as someone who could offer that service. Do jingles for other podcasters and other YouTubers and whatnot, because it seems like a pretty good and pretty growing field.
Well, there's a lot of podcasters. There's a lot of them now, isn't there? It seems to be the new kind of vogue thing to do. A lot of people are.
There's millions of them, and everyone is trying to do something that distinguishes and stands out. Including me. I mean, I'm just a hacker here on my front porch in Boston.
I've been to Boston.
Have you been to Boston?
Yeah, I've been to Boston. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where in England are you from?
I'm from a place called Northamptonshire, which is about an hour from London.
Is it near Manchester?
It's in between London and Birmingham.
Okay. Nice.
It's like in the middle.
I imagine there must be an incredible music scene over there.
Yeah. Because everywhere's so small, there's always little bars to play that you never know that existed.
Mm-hmm.
Which is cool, but I think like Brits look at America as a place to play as well.
Sure. Do you have a working band that you travel around with, or?
I tend to do things like locally. I've got a couple of guys that I jam with, and we do gigs with. But when I go abroad, I go solo more because it's easier for the money and the budget usually, or I have like a band that comes plays with me. When I go to Korea, there's a drummer and a bass player that I jam with out there. So.
Wow, that's a huge music place.
Korea.
Oh yeah, isn't it?
Yeah. It's awesome. It's one of the best places I've ever played.
Oh, that's amazing! Wow.
How did you get into music? How did you?
Well, I really haven't been for years. It's kind of something that I just am sort of thinking about these days. I mean, I've never been a professional musician. I mean, I've always played a little bit here and there, but it's because of the COVID. I don't know what, but it's got me to thinking about music and beginning to once again put my hand on the old guitar.
How's the COVID situation out there at the minute? Is it?
Oh, it's pretty bad. You can't really go outside too much. You have to be very careful. Probably worse than England. I mean, it's the Americans are not as diligent in many ways. We go out and we go to the beach and we go out and go protesting and we could do different stuff, and it results in a spread of the disease.
Sure. But I think the world's just gone crazy at the moment, hasn't it, really?
It has. It's really unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it, and I'm a lot older than you. So I don't know. Well, anyway, so maybe why don't we, I don't know, let's work on something that you're doing.
I'll do a blues thing in E. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Cool. Cool.
Nice. Good place to start. Gee, I'm feeling better already. I was really feeling almost sick thinking about doing this today. I
Oh,
don't
that's
know.
good. Yeah, I'm glad that it's fun. What guitar are you using?
This is it's like an imitation Telecaster.
Can I have a
It's
look?
yeah. It's it's a Stratocaster Squire.
Oh, it's a Squire. Cool.
Yeah.
How old's that then?
Oh, I've had this probably for the better part of 20 years. I just it's sort of fished it out of the closet recently. um, and I'm just using a cheap Gorilla amp here. The
Cool.
very small amp.
Do
But,
you go out and see many shows in Boston? There's quite a good scene in Boston there.
yeah, I mean it's not lately, but you know, this Boston has a pretty good, I guess you might call it a house scene. People doing gigs, you know, it's like a speakeasy. You tap on the door and you get in, and you see a band privately, and you know you pay a little bit of money, and you know you go into someone's basement. That's a big scene over in my neighborhood here in
Like
Alston,
a house
Brighton.
concert.
Yeah, exactly. And there's still a couple of good clubs in Alston, Brighton, where I live, but not the way it used to be. I mean, I think that the whole music scene has kind of gone not underground, but it's kind of more sort of, it's almost like the old days of prohibition, you know, where it's like a speakeasy.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
I can't say I've gotten out a lot lately, but you know, I mean, I've tried to keep in touch.
It's Berkeley in Boston area.
Berkeley is in Boston. Yes, Berkeley
So
is
you must
actually.
have quite a lot of good players playing
Yeah, I
out
mean,
there.
Berkeley is a very fine school. I mean, they just built a new tower, and in that tower they have two recording studios that are among the state of the art anywhere in the world. They're incredible, and
Mm.
you can go in there. You're not supposed to do it, but people obviously have the technical ability to record there, and keep their recordings. And you've got world class musicians coming into town. Berkeley tends to be more jazz, and also Berkeley tends to have a certain sound, a certain genre that's unique to them.
Yeah.
Maybe the best description of Berkeley would be Herbie Hancock, Chick Corea, Al Di
They're quite
Meola.
school players, aren't they? Like you can tell when somebody's gone to Berkeley.
Yeah, I mean it's very technically perfect. You know, kind of high, high physicality. I guess you know musicality. It's not the kind of thing you do for a garage band. Although I don't know. I mean, anybody can go through it.
It kind of leaves you cold in a way. They're that good.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that. I mean, it's also Berkeley is a good place to go if you want to get into the music business and do more than simply be a player. I mean, you learn production, you learn engineering, you learn
Yeah.
marketing, you learn all the aspects of the business. So a lot of people who go to Berkeley are there because they want to make it as a musician, but at the same time, you know, they want to stay in the business while they try to make it, and they want to get connections and make some money and function in the business for the long term. So, you know, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad education.
Where I went was where I studied was similar to Berkeley in that way. Like it's geared to stay in the music industry. I think it took its model from Berkeley.
Where did you study?
A place called Brighton Institute of Modern Music, called BIM.
Okay.
So they had like the first school was in Brighton, and then it sort of spread across Europe, and it's become like the almost like the sort of like the Europe's answer to Berkeley. Like lots of people go there for music and.
Great. I mean, did you learn, in a sense, did you make the kind of connections you wanted to make and learn the different things you wanted to learn there?
Or? I think I went when I went there. I was really young, so I was like 16. But yeah, no, I think that I did. I think looking back, I learned a lot more than I thought I did.
Yeah.
If you try doing a slower blues, do you want to pick something?
Sure. Just trying to get sort of trying to unmuddy my sound a little bit here.
Right.
My chord seems to be going on the fritz. So sorry about that. Ah. Losing power, no problem. Let me just. There it is. Yeah, this. I need to get some better equipment here. Gee, I could jam with you all day. This is
What what players do you like? Who do you like? Who do you like listening to? Like what?
well. I mean, I used to be. I mean, I don't know, blues and rock. I mean, I heard BB King come to town when he was here,
Oh
and
wow!
he was amazing.
When was that?
This was probably 5 or 6 years ago, at least. But in Boston, we have this venue right on the water, right on the harbor,
Yeah.
and he performed there, and it's kind of an outside venue, and it's beautiful. And he was just ripping off these blues licks that were just thundering across the ocean. It was incredible. One of the best
Wow.
concerts I've seen. Absolutely amazing. Another concert I saw that was great, and it wasn't really my kind of music, but it was a great concert, was Barry White, the late Barry White.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Wow.
I mean, he had a full orchestra, a full jazz section, a lineup of women singing and beautiful women, that were doing the whole thing. And he
Yeah.
conducted it and he sang it and he played keyboards. And it was just an amazing, incredible concert. What a great, great thing he did. I don't know how he could afford to do that as a musician, but it just was the most complete production live that I've ever seen. Everything live. It was amazing. And of course, I mean, in my day, I've seen all the great British bands like The Who and Led Zeppelin
You seen the Who?
and the
I've seen the Who.
Stones. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love the Stones, of course. They're coming out on YouTube with a lot of outtakes from sessions that they'd done. One with Jimmy Page that they never had
Oh, yeah, I
released.
saw
Before.
that.
It
Yeah, I
was a
saw that.
fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. I did see
Did you
that.
see that? Oh, it's great.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely great. What
It's like
what
Clapton.
incredible. Yeah, them and with Mick Taylor on guitar. What an incredible band they are.
Where did you see them?
I saw them in Boston at the what was then the Boston Garden. Um, it was not, I don't think, their most creative period. This was like in the late '70s, maybe,
Okay.
and they had Billy Preston on keyboard. It wasn't one of their best periods, but it was great. I mean, they're unbelievable. They're legendary.
And when did you see Zeppelin?
I saw Zeppelin at the height. I mean, I'm a lot older than you, as I said. I saw Zeppelin at the height of their powers, and this was in 1972. I think I was I was just a kid in school at the time, and I got right up in the front. A friend of mine was a radio DJ, and he got tickets, and he had a friend that couldn't make it, so he called me, and so I went, and it was right up front. Them doing their tour backing Stairway to Heaven. It was incredible, unbelievable, the best band ever in terms of their perfection, their sound, their look, their music, their everything. It's just
Mm.
they had it. They knew what they were doing in a way that I've never seen anyone do. Incredible band.
Do you like Eric Clapton?
Oh, I love Clapton. I mean, he knows. He speaks. That guitar speaks. I mean, I understand that he's dealing with some tragedy right now.
Is
In
he?
that, I think he has some nerve damage or something.
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think any. I mean, I don't know of anyone who plays like that. I mean, he synthesizes American and British music in a way that I've never heard anyone do.
Yeah,
Incredible.
like he's definitely a crossover guy, isn't he?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Incredible musician. Another band that I'm listening to, because being with COVID, you have a little bit more time on YouTube, is not a band that I ever particularly liked and knew about much. My brother liked them, but I never really paid any attention. And that is the Beach Boys.
Oh yeah, they're great band. Yeah,
Oh my
amazing.
God, they're incredible. I mean, their harmonies and Brian Wilson. I mean, what a genius! And they're putting
So
on YouTube a lot of their studio outtakes. Like this behind the scenes. How they created those songs, and it's really amazing. It's so interesting, so incredible.
it's so sad what happened to him though with the drugs and the
Yeah.
breakdown and
Well.
everything.
Oh yeah. Well, look, two of the brothers are dead, and he's like has mental problems. I mean, they definitely
Mm.
got sucked into the drug scene, and it took a huge toll on them for sure. You have to stay away from that, you know.
Drugs don't end well.
No. It catches up to you. I mean,
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I mean, I was able to dodge that bullet, but I know a lot of people who didn't.
yeah. I know people that even my age who you know that they aren't going to do it. That they're going to be smoking drugs
Yeah,
when they're older, kind of thing.
they're just going to waste their life. They're going to waste their time.
Yeah,
They're going to blow their energy. I get the fact that there is a certain level of mind alteringness, which is good, but you have to be very careful. It's like handling the devil.
yeah, agreed. Yeah,
You want
definitely.
to take what you can, but then get out of it quickly. I mean, I guess. I mean, I'm not here to preach because I've done my share, and I certainly did LSD in my day, so I know what it's about.
Uh, so, have you always lived in Boston?
I have, and I've been involved recently with doing a podcast on politics mostly, and I interview people, bring them in through to my show, have conversations. I'm the author of a lot of books. I've been in business. I've run a national company, but music has always been, more of a passion, but not anything that I've actually done. Although, what the
Mm,
hell? I mean, I might as well pick it up and try
exactly.
at,
Yeah, yeah.
at my old age.
What's your company that you're what's the company?
Well, my company, actually, I worked with musicians, and the company was riding high for years, and I was doing very well. And that was distributing brochures, posters, flyers all over the United States. And I'd be hired to put posters up for bands, for music labels, for movie companies, for performing arts companies on college campuses. And they could call me, and I could get them up on 50 college campuses all at once because I had those kind of connections. And I would send them out, and I was just rolling in dough. I was doing really, really well, but then the whole thing fell apart, I think, pretty much because of the internet. People didn't need to do it anymore. They could do it for free online, or they could.
Yeah.
So that kind of knocked the stuffings out of my business. And since then, I've done talk radio. I got into politics. I ran for public office here in Boston. Did well.
Oh,
And
cool.
yeah, and I've done politics. I've done radio shows, and I've written books. I've written almost 15 books. And now I'm doing. I'm actually in the middle of writing another book. And
What's the book
it's
about?
also my books are about political and social issues. In this particular book, I'm writing about God.
Do you run as an independent when you ran for?
Yes, I ran as an independent in Massachusetts for Congress, but it was a very high profile campaign because I ran against a very powerful incumbent by the name of Barney Frank. And that drew a lot of interest and a lot of money. And I ended up getting a lot of experience from it. It was pretty interesting.
Um, that is really fascinating.
How about yourself, Dan? What are your interests besides music, or as a musician?
Music takes up a lot of my time because I'm sort of self-employed, but I like to travel and I like to experience different cultures. I like to read and learn new skills. I like to walk and meditate
Good.
um, and keep as healthy as I can.
Well, there's a book right there, How to Stay Healthy in COVID. Right.
Yeah.
Somebody should write that. But I mean, generally speaking, I mean there are pluses and minuses to this. It's a chance to get to know the family again, get to know the old lady again. I
Do you have kids?
have one daughter. Yeah, she's with me now. She's a college age girl.
Oh, cool. What
How
does she
about
study?
yourself?
I have no kids.
Yeah, married?
Not married.
Oh, okay. Hey, you got to, it's the thing to do, in the long term. It's
I
very
know. Yeah.
fulfilling. I got married much later in life, but
How old were you when you got married?
when I got married, I think I was about 35.
Okay, I've got 3 more years left to catch you up.
Okay, well, I can tell you, I mean, not to preach, but it fulfills you. It really does to find a
Yeah,
mate.
yeah.
And then
How
to
did you
have a child is the ultimate.
how did you meet your wife?
I just I became. It took about 3 years for me to think about meeting someone. I went through a lot of deep thought about it, and I focused on it. And eventually, once I put my mind to it, I put myself out there and I began to just go to social events and get involved with things and groups. And, I made myself aware of it and started to date. I had never really paid much attention to it, but once I got on the track of it, and I focused on it and determined that I would do it, I was able to find somebody. And but it's not
Sound
easy.
like very similar people.
You have to have similar interests. You have to have a friendship. You have to have, a shared sense of humor. You have to develop. I mean, you don't just jump into something like that. You need to form a close bond with someone because you're going to spend your life with them, and figuring out whether you actually like the person and whether or not you can have a comfortable friendship with them before you can go the next step.
Sure, yeah. I think a lot of people rush into relationships, don't they?
Oh, it's something that you have to learn. It's not something that I think comes naturally. You have to determine to do it, think about it, imagine it, plot it. It's not something that just happens. People have a romantic idea of marriage as being something like Romeo and Juliet or something. That's not really. I mean, that's bullshit.
That's Hollywood, don't it? That's kind of like the Hollywood.
Yeah.
Hollywood make it that kind of way when in reality it's hard work.
It is, but it's totally
rewarding.
worth it. It's totally worth it. It completely fulfills you as a person, as a man. It does.
Does your wife work as well?
Yeah, my wife works. She's a lawyer, and
Cool.
she's, we share certain interests in that way, and we have a lot in common. You have to have that. So.
Shall we do another jam?
Sure. Why not?
Do you sing? Or...
Not really. I could, but maybe you should start out. I'll follow you.
Okay. You just do a blues, like a slow blues in. We'll do Sam Cooke.
Yes.
We'll do this. Bring It On Home in G.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
Well, if you ever change your mind by leaving me behind, why don't you bring it to me? Bring your sweet loving, bring it home to me. I'll give you money, jewelry too. That ain't all I give to a girl like you. Why don't you bring it to me? Bring your sweet loving, you can bring it home to me. Yeah. Solo?
Okay.
Again? The solo. Well, if you ever change your mind about leaving me behind, why don't you bring it to me? bring your sweet loving, you can bring it on home. Nice.
Beautiful. Huh. Boy.
Oh,
Well, I mean, I'm definitely getting some ideas about where I want to take it this all. That's for sure. So anyhow, I'm really happy to help promote your business. And mention that I'm doing this and working with you some more in some projects maybe, and
that'd be good.
seeing.
Yeah. I mean, what kind of things do you have in mind?
Well, I mean, this is I'm hoping to develop from even just from this one session is something that I can distill as a soundbite that I could put on my intro to my podcast.
Okay.
But I mean, I mean, I'm involved in other things. A lot of people I know in the podcast business are involved in stuff like this, and happy to promote you. I think you do a
That'd be
great job.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Maybe we could get some kind of deal where we get where you get a cut if you introduce me to somebody.